Hello everybody, and welcome back, and thanks for joining me today. Let's see if that's already threaded. Yes, it is. So what's new? Oh, I finally got my Star Trek bumper sticker put on my car. I had my husband help me because he's better at those things, putting them on without getting bubbles or wrinkles in them. So yes, it now says O1 terrestrial vehicle USS Element because I drive a Honda Element. So I figured, USS Enterprise, USS Element, it kind of fits. So you could get it personalized to anything I wanted. I'll put a link to where I got it if you're curious to get one yourself. So yeah, I considered getting USS Laszlo, but I thought, nah, I'll get the Element instead. Maybe if I end up driving a different vehicle one day, I'll get a different sticker for it. Yeah, because of course my tailgate got busted in that accident, so my stickers were gone, so I had to replace them. And then I realized I had neglected to ever get a Star Trek one before, which is odd of me since I love it. Let's see, I'm actually going to go into the next diagonal a bit because it's all a straight line, so why not? I'm not closing anything in that way, so I will. But yeah, I was curious. I looked into getting a customized license plate, maybe get it to say Trekkie or something, but they are really expensive, so I decided I'm too cheap for that. I'll pay for a $15 sticker. I'm not going to pay for a custom plate. I saw one in town that they must be Star Wars fans because it was OBE and then the number 1. And I'm looking at it going, what's that? Obi-Wan. Oh, Obi-Wan, as in Obi-Wan Kenobi. So yeah, I thought that was pretty clever. Yeah, I'm not one of those who say you got to pick one or the other. Like what you like. My husband loves Star Wars. It's not really my thing, but I've watched it with him. Makes him happy. You can like multiple fandoms. It's all good. We also like Legend of Zelda and Final Fantasy. I don't have any Final Fantasy patterns planned, and I really need to stop planning more patterns because I have so many already. And then, of course, Firefly. If you saw my my update of what I'm working on, one of them is Firefly that I charted myself. It was actually quite amusing. I was looking for a pattern on like Etsy, and I got one that said it was for Firefly, and it had "You can't take the sky from me," which is the, tagline. And then it had a graphic of the TARDIS. I'm like, but that's from Doctor Who. So I guess whoever designed it either was trying to be ironic or they just had no idea that those were separate fandoms. I don't know, but yeah, that was okay. I remember I took a screenshot and I shared it on my my Facebook with the gif of Bart Simpson throwing the cake in the garbage where the cake says on it, "At least you tried." Because yeah, you tried, but no, that was no good. Oh yeah, our poor guinea pig. She's still in pretty good health, but she is old. And I noticed she stopped wanting to walk up to the second level of her cage where I normally would put her food, because she liked to walk up there and sort of spread the hay around and then fall asleep in it. And I noticed she didn't seem to walk up there anymore. So I put some food on the lower level, and now she's quite happily down there on the lower level. So yeah, but she's an old lady for a guinea pig. They live 6 to 8 years, and she's got to be close to 8 years. So yeah. She's lived a good long life. We don't know exactly how old she is because she was a rescue, but we think we got her when she was around a year old. And then we've had her for, yeah, it'll be like 7 years this summer. So it'll sort of come out every morning and, okay, yeah, you're still around. Good. I'll miss her when she's gone. Yeah, it will be weird not saving the veggie scraps for her because she loves those. She really likes the seeds from the bell peppers are her favorite. And it was funny, with cucumber, she only likes the peel. So if I gave her whole pieces of cucumber, she'd just eat the peel off the edge and leave it. So I started just peeling the cucumber and giving her that part, and I eat the inside part so it doesn't get wasted. Same with carrots. She'll just eat the peel off of it. She's gotten quite spoiled. When we first got her, she was very, very thin. And whoever had her before us didn't feed her enough, poor thing. When you pet her, you could feel all her ribs. But after we had her for a while, she fattened up nicely. Couldn't feel her ribs anymore when you pet her. But yeah, so she used to eat anything you put in front of her because poor thing was starving. But now she knows she's going to get lots of food, so she's very picky. She'll eat parsley, but only once or twice a month. If you try to give it to her more than that, she won't touch it. And it was funny, she won't eat cilantro either. It came in one of my meal kits, and I have that gene that makes it taste like soap and also dirt. And so I thought, oh, we'll give it to the guinea pig. And she sniffed it and scrambled backwards like I was holding a bomb in front of her. Oh, she wouldn't touch it. And same with basil. She wouldn't eat that either. So. And spinach, she'll only eat a little bit. Again, like parsley, she'll only eat it once or twice a month. Try to give it to her more often and she will not touch it. Oh, look at that. There we go. That would have made a very odd stitch. I was going to put it down in the wrong place. Yeah, so the colors are going very horizontal in this section. So this is like the hedges and such. And we're going to get to the top of the fountain. Probably not in this area. Probably once I move my frame over a bit. When we'll get the fountain and maybe some of the swans. Yeah, that was the part of the pattern that really drew me to this one. Yeah, waiting for it to stop raining out there so I can go for my walk. I started making it part of my routine to go for a walk every morning. Get some exercise and fresh air. Helps me sleep better at night if I do that, so. And the weather is finally nice enough to be able to do that. All that snow is melted. Because yeah, before that we would get, it would melt and then go into the lower parts in the sidewalk and freeze, and then you wouldn't see it and then go flying. Now everything, the sidewalks are nice and dry. So don't have to worry about that anymore. Okay. goodness, my needles are magnetized. Yeah, so sometimes when you try to pull them apart, they stick together. It's funny because when I was a kid, I tried doing that science experiment when you try to magnetize a needle by, stroking it across a magnet like 100 times. I could never get it to work, but when I'm not trying to get it to do that, yeah, it's always the way. Actually, I can do those ones too. Might as well. Because, yeah, it won't close anything in to do these. Doing yeah. Right, that would close that in, so we're not doing that. Do that one up there since it's in the corner, and park it there, and that's out of my diagonal, so there, just put those away. All right, just trying to decide my path here. I guess either way. Trying to decide whether I want to do another thread or not. I think that's what I may end up doing. Ooh, quite a lot of this color here, yeah. Yeah, we're going to end up with lots of threads of that one, I think. Oh, only one of the two strands was properly threaded there. Oh, I see. They're quite uneven. Goodness me, I am not having luck today. Oh, well, speaking of not having luck, my gosh. So cut a new piece of fabric off of the my bolt of Aida, and I wanted, of course, to secure the edges. I usually just do a zigzag stitch on my sewing machine, and my old Singer sewing machine that I had for like 15 years, it's done. It jams and it just will not run properly. My husband took it apart to see if there was a mechanical issue, but it's just, I think, worn out. Like I said, it's 15 years old, so I went to get a new one. And first one didn't work, so it was too loose. No matter what I did with the tension, it wouldn't tighten up properly. And so I took it back to the store and exchanged it for a different model. And it was another Singer. And this one, it did 6 stitches, jammed so hard, I was afraid I wasn't going to get my fabric back, that I was going to have to cut it to get it out from under the presser foot, because the needle was down when it was jammed. And the little turning handle, it would not work. Took all my strength to get it to rotate backwards to get the needle back up. So I took that one back to the store, and the lady was like, "Oh, geez, you're back already?" Because it was like an hour later. I said, "Yeah, I just must be unlucky. It's not my day to buy a lottery ticket." So I got my money back, and I went and bought a Brother brand sewing machine, and it worked, thankfully. I was starting to think I was cursed there or something. And yeah, it was one that has quilting features and stuff. It's quite nice, but I mean, I only wanted a very basic machine because all I really do is sew straight hems and zigzag stitch. That's all I needed. I don't need any of those other fancy embroidery stitches. And I really don't plan to take up another handcraft hobby. I have plenty to keep me busy. Multiple cross-stitch projects and knitting projects, and yeah, I have a sweater I was making for my mother-in-law that I still haven't finished because it's she wanted ribbing. So it's knit 2, purl 2, and knitting ribbing is very tedious because you can't sort of get a rhythm just going like just pure knit stitch. You got to knit a couple and then pull the yarn to the other side, purl a couple, pull the yarn back and forth every 2 stitches, so it takes much longer. So plus, I haven't been able to visit her for a while because they live quite far away and, pandemic. So, yeah, we haven't really been traveling, but I will get back to it. I got it mostly done. I'm just doing the sleeves now, which, again, I don't like knitting sleeves as much because, like with the body of a sweater, you can use a big round circular needle and again, just go round and round, and it's much easier with sleeves. You have to either use double pointed needles, which I hate. I refuse to use those. Or I knit it with 2 circulars, but then that means, again, you're using a lot of time moving stitches around, switching needles. So it takes longer. Fortunately, she only wanted a short sleeved, not a long sleeved, so it shouldn't be as long left. Yeah, it's why I don't make ribbing as often. I'm more likely to make cable patterns because while there's a lot of knitting and purling there, they're very interesting to look at. Keeps your brain busy. But yeah, so like I said, I don't need to take on quilting. I have enough to keep me busy. Plus, I don't know, sewing has never been one of my strengths. I tried making clothes, but I'm pretty basic. I mostly just use it to hem pants because I'm short and they're always too long for me. Even the ones that are marketed as shorter legs are still too long for me. Like capri pants go to my ankles when they're not supposed to. So I do that, or just basic darts, that kind of thing. I don't really sew stuff from scratch. Yeah, it's one of those things. Just because you have a skill in one area doesn't mean it translates, right? Just like I like to think I'm a fairly decent cook, but making cakes, fancy cakes, is not one of my skills. That's for sure. My mother-in-law is very good at it. She actually made our wedding cake. That was one of her gifts to us for our wedding. It was very nice. So, and my dad was really good at making cakes too. Yeah, I can handle making pastry, which is difficult to do without making it tough, but for some reason cakes are just not my thing. I had a feeling that was a short one. We'll see if it's even long enough to do those 3 stitches or not. Oh, yeah, I think we might just have enough. Excellent. Love when it works out like that. Bonk. Yeah, I had a feeling that was a short one too. So. Okay, get myself a new strand. All right. Mark that it's done before I forget. Okay. Just trying to figure out which way I want to go. Okay, yeah, I know what I'm gonna do. Well, there is so much of this color in this area that, yeah, I'll be ending up with more than one strand anyway. You know what I'm going to do is I can do that anyway. So I could potentially keep this to one strand if it works out to be long enough. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, so that whole thing with the sewing machine, I wanted to secure the edges and then start gridding that fabric. And it took me all bloody day just to secure the edges because of the sewing machine issue. And I said, you know, Singer used to be like the, you know, the gold standard, or at least it was a very well-known, good quality brand. And I guess it's just gone downhill since. And I had a few people saying, yeah, the same thing. Like one of my friends had her grandmother's old Singer sewing machines that finally died after over 50 years, but now you can't get one to last more than a couple of years. And I've noticed that too. I remember I finally saved up and bought a KitchenAid stand mixer to make bread, and it was a piece of junk. Within a few weeks of having it, you could hear the gears start slipping, and it could still mix it, but not well. You could hear that it was straining, and I couldn't find the darn receipt by that time, so I couldn't be bothered to tear the house apart to find it and return it. So I said, okay, whatever, I'll just use it till it dies. And yeah, the motor would get quite warm too, so I knew it was not running great. And had the same thing. My sister said that her husband got her one as a gift, and he got her like the top of the line one, thinking it would be the best. She said she used it to mix mashed potatoes and it died. First use. What a piece of junk. And yeah, my uncle said he has one that he got, you know, back in like the 80s. It's still running. But again, anything you buy lately, it's like designed to die within a few years. So that you have to keep replacing them. So I was not happy. So that one lasted me maybe a year. I've switched to Breville. That was one I got. My first Breville I got was with my Air Miles, and that was what was available. And that one lasted me 3 years, and I used it a lot. I made bread at least every week and other stuff. And yeah, that was a really good quality machine. When it finally died, smoke came out from it. I remember thinking, why do I smell smoke? You know, nothing is burning, nothing's being cooked or anything. And then I look over and there's smoke coming out from the motor of my mixer. It's like, oh, okay, I guess you're done now. So, but I saved up my grocery store points to get my latest one. So yeah, that's what I usually do. I either save my points to use in December because, you know, Christmas, extra expenses, so, or I save it for big purchases like that, like when our SodaStream machine died and we wanted a new one, just use that. Or when I needed some new frying pans, I used that. Pardon me. I got actually, I was really happy with the ceramic coated ones, because Teflon always peels, right? And it's probably not healthy to be ingesting flakes of it. So yeah, I tried the ceramic fry pans. I'm very happy with them. Had to be careful though at first, because when they say non-stick, they're not kidding. I almost flipped the eggs right out of the frying pan the first time I used it. So yeah, I had to get used to the fact that, yeah, things really slide in there. And of course, make sure you don't use any metal utensils on it or you'll wreck the coating. But, so yeah, I used points for that, so quite happy with those. I also found that the cheaper Teflon pans, they weren't very heavy material, so they would warp very easily, even if you weren't using them over super high heat. And then, you know, things don't cook evenly because it's not making even contact with your burner. So yeah, I'm quite happy with these because they're a little heavier. So I've been using them for a couple of years and they're still going really well. So happy with those. Yeah, I tried to make bread by hand when my stand mixer died, but oh, my wrists didn't like it. I have loose joints, so I have to be very careful not to put too much weight, and so kneading bread is just no go. Yeah, it died in the middle of making a batch of bread. I thought, well, maybe I'll just hand knead it, and I tried, and nope, that hurts way too bad. Not doing that. So it was half mixed, so I baked it anyway, and it turned out okay. It was still edible, so. Yeah, I hate having to replace appliances so much, because I mean, that's so much in the landfill, right? Yeah. What can you do? Same thing, vacuum cleaners. My parents had a filter queen, I think, that they had from before I was born, and it finally died when I was a teenager. Now you're lucky if you get a vacuum to last you more than, 2-3 years. I got a Shark, and it's still going okay, and I've had it 3 years, so I hope it'll last a little longer. Yeah, I try to reduce my environmental impact, but unfortunately, there's only so much you can do. Okay, I don't think there's anything near enough. No, so I'm going to end off that one. Okay, those pieces are still long enough to do 1 or so stitches. Okay, right on the edge here. I think, in fact, yeah, I'm going to just put all these aside now. And get some needles back. Yes, that's really going into the next diagonal, so yeah, that is what I'll do. Okay, now if I remember, how long is this? Fairly decent. Okay. Come on. There. Needle was kind of wanting to go on the wrong side of the threads that were already in that hole. Yeah, you don't want your threads coming up like this, You want them to be lying next to each other. Nice and neat. Oh, goodness. She says as she overshoots and misses the proper spot. There we go. Yes, I have not tackled even weave yet. I think that would be harder for me when they don't have sort of nice set holes the way Aida does. Oh, let me see, actually. Yeah, I'm gonna put that there because, yeah, I didn't want to do those other ones I parked out of the diagonal, so. Now, just because stitches are right next to each other doesn't mean you have to do them together. You can split them up like I do. Nope, try that again. There. So when I stitched cross country, then of course I would always do those in a row, but now with this parking, I just split them up sometimes when it makes sense for me to do so, just to keep things neat. Okay, that goes there. So now, yeah, I wanted to be able to do this and like this. If it is long enough, we shall see. Yeah, thing with the even weave too is they tend to be much higher counts. I don't think my eyes would like that. My prescription's pretty high. Yeah, I needed glasses since I was a kid, so. Yeah, I was in a group where they had a discussion saying, you know, without modern medicine, what would have taken you out? And most people were saying like ear infection. Of course, a lot of us were saying childbirth. And I said, well, if that didn't get me when I was a kid, I might have, you know, without glasses, I would have fallen into a well or something. When I was little, so. Yeah, I'm pretty helpless without them. I had them come apart one time, and I needed to call my husband at work to come home and help me because I couldn't find the tiny little screwdriver to put them back together. So we went and bought a set of those really tiny little ones, and it's kept in the same spot now in a cupboard so that I'll be able to find it without having to look, because yeah, I can't ruddy see. All right. And then I'm gonna park that there. So that one where I could have parked it before, but I wasn't gonna because I didn't want to close anything in. Leave that for the next one, and I'll start a new strand for here. Okay. Oh, pardon me. Actually, what I'm gonna do is fill this in first. Okay. Need a new strand. Check what we have already attached and how long it is. Okay, that's fairly long. These are quite scattered, I can see. Yeah, not as much confetti here, so it goes a little faster. Oh, good. Looks like the sun is coming out there, so when I finish this session, I think I'll go for my walk. Yeah, I can't afford a treadmill, so Thinking I might get one of those Strider machines for the winter, but that's a ways away, thankfully. Plus, I like with those machines, they fold up nice and small and fit in a closet. So, because yeah, my husband doesn't really want it in the living room taking up space, which I can understand. Yeah, I had an exercise bike, but the seat on it was so uncomfortable. And by the time you finished using it, gosh, it felt like somebody was jamming knives up at the base of your spine. It was very uncomfortable. I tried putting cushion on it and stuff, but oh, it was not a good design. Nice thing with the Strider machine too is it does get your arms moving as well, as the bike does not. Oh dear. Yeah. Just trying not to do that. There. Yeah. Because these are multiple strands, undoing a knot can be a little tricky sometimes. I've had to cut knots out before occasionally when it just would not cooperate. Oh my gosh. There we go. I jinxed myself talking about knots there. Okay, 3, 3, 4, 8. Yeah, so this area I'm stitching now is like the sunlight hitting the ground, coming between the trees. Oh, actually, no, what I wanted to do is that one. Yeah. Oh, gee. And then, yeah, attach another strand. Okay, I'm just gonna see, oops, the length of this one here. Yeah, not very. Okay, because that'll help me decide where I want to park after doing those. I'm gonna park down to the left a bit. There we go. Got a weird loop. Okay, so now you can go back to that number 7. Yeah. Do, oops, all those. Goodness. There we go. Just had some fuzzy little ends coming up to the front, which I do not want. Okay, that is the next diagonal. So unthread. Okay, that one wasn't threaded, but there's only enough for the one stitch that it is parked in, so you know what, I'm just gonna do it. Get it done. And one less hanging thread to deal with later. Oh, oops, I'm in search mode. Yeah, there we go. Okay. That one was twisted. Yeah. There. Yeah, I'm too much of a perfectionist. That's what I said when I messed up with the, I used color number 01 instead of 1, which is white. And somebody said, well, you could say it's, stormy clouds instead of sunny clouds, but it would bother me forever that that was the wrong color. So yeah, I restarted that one. Yeah, 10,000 stitches, blah. Well, to put it in perspective, it was only like 3%, so. Yeah, there was one person who said they were 60 pages into the pattern before they discovered they'd done the same thing. So they had to scrap and restart. I said, okay, you win. Oh, 60 pages, oh no. Must have been heartbreaking. I'm not sure I would have even restarted at that point. I would have been so upset. I guess they really wanted it done, so. I know there's some people who have said they've actually stitched the same pattern more than once, either as a gift for someone, or there's some who, like, they did the mini version and then decided they wanted a bigger version, like a max color or a super size, or even just the regular size. And I've made the same knitting pattern many times. That Starburst one that I've been working on, I think this might be the 7th or 8th one I've made with that pattern. Something like that. Oh gosh. So funny story. I don't have the setup of that pattern memorized. Like once I get to the 4 repeating rounds, then I don't need to use the pattern anymore. But the first few, like 12 rounds, are slightly different because you're setting things up. And so when I wanted to make another fat blanket, I couldn't find the book that the pattern was in. And I looked everywhere. Even went into my husband's office and went through his books, even though, I mean, why would it be there? But just in case, could not find it. Went online to see if I could, maybe just download pay for a copy, but it's not electronic. It's an older book, so it's only available on paper. So I ordered myself a replacement. Well, that one got lost in the mail. I waited a month for it to show up, and the tracking information they gave me showed me that it never moved after a certain point. I guess somebody forgot to scan it, but anyway. So it was 6 weeks after I ordered it, and I put in a claim and I got a refund. And so I went to another website and I ordered one there. And a day before that one arrived, I found my old copy because, of course, right? The way to find a missing object is to replace it. Then you'll find it. So I found that one, so I said, great, I have 2. And then like a week later, the one that had been lost in the mail finally showed up. This was, like 3-4 months later. My husband said, what, did they walk it here? But so now I have 3 copies. You're like, oh, for Pete's sakes. Oh. Somebody said you could sell it, but shipping from Canada is really expensive, so I don't know. I don't have a lot of friends who knit either. Because I was gonna say, like if you just pay the shipping, just take it off my hands. I don't need 3 darn copies, but oh well. Guess I'll never have to worry about finding that pattern again. Oh my goodness. I think that's the first time I have 3 now of the same item. 2 happens. I have 2 kettles because, silly me, I cleaned up, put it in a cupboard, couldn't find it. And I swear I searched that cupboard more than once and it was not there. But then, of course, as soon as I bought a replacement, it showed up. So now I have 2. Somebody said, you put your kettle away? I said, well, I don't really drink tea that much. In fact, I usually use my kettle just for heating up water to make ramen, which I don't make very often because, I know it's not the most nutritious thing. So I only have it maybe once a month. So yeah, I was trying to clear my counter. That's what I get for trying to be neat and tidy, right? Ugh. Yeah, it was one I shared once that said, you know, how to perform the great rite of banishing. And it says, say, I need to keep a hold of this. I'm going to put it in a safe place. And then, yeah, it'll disappear and you won't be able to find it. It said, but warning, if you at any time decide you need it again and buy a replacement, your banishment will be undone and the item will appear. Which, yeah, totally true. Oh boy. Yeah, put it in a safe place means I will never see it again. Alright, we'll see if this piece is long enough to carry or not. I think it might be. Yeah, perfect. It was enough. Perfect. I had a feeling that was a longer piece. Oh. Oh, you just do not want to come free, do you? Fine. Yeah. Sometimes when the thread gets wrapped around each other, it's less trouble to just unthread it and rethread it than to try to get it free. I usually can, but yes, sometimes it's just becomes more trouble than it's worth. Alright. So yeah, this one can be ended off. Okay. Oh my gosh. There, it's not having luck. Okay. Get another color that's going more horizontal. Okay, that one's not very long. I was planning a whole path for this, but yeah, no, it's not. Probably not long enough to do that. It's okay. Yeah. Park it down here because it's enough to do sort of that one. Okay. So when the colors are going more horizontal, we end up doing more of a top-down direction. It's when they go vertical, I often end up doing more of a bottom-up direction, as they demonstrated in a previous video when I was doing the pillars. So yeah, like I said, I just follow the colors and do what makes the most sense to me. Okay, so what I did actually is I was counting on that other piece I ended up to be longer. That's why I parked this one here. So what I'm actually going to do is there's a better place to use it to avoid another strand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unpark it from there and I'm going to repark it right there. because I found a better way. I might need to add another strand where this was originally parked or not. We will see as I do it. I kind of can't think that far ahead. At this point, there's too many strands to think that far ahead, so. If a new thread is required, then we'll add one. Other way. Needle didn't want to come up cleanly. All right, so this is the one I reparked. Carry on with it. Yeah, I may end up putting a new one where the other one was, but I wasn't sure, so reparking this potentially prevented me from having to do that, so that is why I did it. There. All right. That was a nice productive session, hey? Got quite a lot done today. But yeah, the sun's out, so I think I'm going to take advantage of the weather and get my walk in before it rains again. So we will call it a day here. So thank you so much for joining me again, and hope to see you here next time. All right, thanks everyone. Bye.